In my opinion, you should absolutely do nothing when it comes to altcoins. Look, altcoin season, you have to forget about it. You should focus on individual altcoins and only do something when there's a clear sign that the bottom, and I'm not talking about a short-term bottom, I'm talking about long-term bottoms are coming in. If I'm looking at Solana, they are pushing Solana big time on X. Don't do anything. All right, like honestly, I don't understand because what's the rush? Like what's the rush? What is all about? Why do you feel the rush to jump into this market? If I'm looking at Solana right here, I am telling you right now, this thing looks really, really bad. Solana looks really, really bad. If you have any hope that Solana is completing its final stage of a bear market, or if you don't believe this is a bear market, if you believe this is a normal pullback, then what you need to see the price of Solana in the next 2-3 hours close above $95. If Solana is below 90, if Solana is below 95, this is all that you need. This is a confirmation that you need that it's actually going lower. The same way, when you were looking at Solana back here, the moment we closed below $126, that was your confirmation, because when you lose a major support, the confirmation is right there. All right, the market just confirmed to you that it's not done going down. That was at 126. All right, you had a weekly close at 117. If you would have simply got out of your position, you would have avoided, this major drop all the way down to around 71, which was a 44% crash. So I'm telling you right now, anyone that's pushing Solana, most of those guys are bag holding a bunch of these altcoins, and you are their exit liquidity. Send the price back up so they can exit those positions. Anyways, if I'm looking at Solana, I would even, entertain the idea of it's a buy opportunity until I see what Solana may do, if we do manage to come back into this range right here. All right. Chat, you are going to have time, man. Do you see this right here? Do you see this consolidation right here? You are going to get this. All right. Forget about the entire. Look, you are going to get this right here. This process right here, this is a long process. This is almost, 8 months, 6-8 months. All right. This process, you are going to get it. All right. This is 366 days. That is almost an entire year, man. You're going to get a process, not like this, but what I'm saying to you is, when it's a bottom, you are actually going to see it, because during the process, it's going to take time. Right? Nothing goes up in a straight line. I don't think you get a V-shaped recovery. I don't believe that. All right? I don't believe you are going to get a V-shaped recovery and you are going to miss, the chance to buy in the next bull market. Even Bitcoin is going to give you, the opportunity to build a position. All you got to do is be patient. So if you look at Bitcoin, you had time to build a position right here. Look, this process right here takes time. Right? It's not going to be a V shape where, chat, if the market V shapes recover, that's okay. There's other opportunities in other markets. So I don't know why there's a need, to jump into a position. I don't know what's the rush. Like, I don't know what it's all about. But I'm here to save you guys. And I'm here to tell you that you need to be patient. If I'm looking at Solana, I'm not touching anything. All right? Continue to go down. Have your moments to bear rally, do all of that. That doesn't mean anything. The moment I see Solana start doing anything like this on the weekly where price is actually not going down and we're doing some funny stuff like this is when I'm going to start paying attention, because something is happening. Finally, something is happening. Finally, I have a reason to say dollar cost averaging, is the right thing to do. But until then, why bother? Chat, it's not just in the cryptocurrency market. Let me show you an example using Robinhood. You could have bought Robinhood right here, guys. All right, there's going to be a process. This was a process right here. And this process took about, if you go from right here all the way here, this process took about 658 days. You are going to see it. The price is actually no longer in this, impulse. All right, you don't have these, impulse moves to the downside. What you get is, a market that trends sideways, breaking structures, all right, retesting key levels, breaking out. All right, you are going to get a process. All right, guys. If it V shapes recover, it's okay. Buy higher. If it's going to go up for the next 2 years, your entry still is going to be good. All right. I can show you guys numerous of examples. All right. I'm not cherry picking. Let's take a look at Nvidia. All right. Even Tesla, guys. There is going to be a process. You only see a V shape during a pullback in a bear market. Look at this right here. This is Nvidia right here, guys. The process is right here. Look, this is the process. All right, price has been in a clear weekly downtrend. And then all of a sudden, it goes up. It gives you a pullback. And then it goes up again. And then it continues up. Oh, what's the difference this time? Oh, wait. When you look at this pullback, this is a weekly higher low. You look up to the left. Oh, this looks like an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Oh, you still don't believe that this is the beginning of a bull market? That's okay. The moment you break above $19, all right, now, this downtrend is fully reversed. Yes, it's perfectly fine. You missed, the first 80% move. But if this is an asset that has entered a long-term uptrend, getting into Nvidia around $19, this is what your profits would have been. All right, I mean, look at this right here, guys. Look, this is a 7x. This is a 700% returns. If you would have dollar cost average, I guarantee you, most likely your average is higher than $19. Because it's a lot easier when you look back and you say, oh, I should have bought around 10, 12. Well, if you started dollar cost averaging, let's say when the price, was right here around $25. Remember, at 25, Nvidia had already crashed about 20, even if you started dollar cost average around $23. All right, because how do I know that, the bulk of your capital was not deployed at $23? All right, like how do we know that when you say you dollar cost average, this was just a little sprinkle that you were just picking up by the bulk of your investment was around 23. Now, worse off is if you started dollar cost average around $30. But once you wait for the trend to finally reverse, now you're in a position where, you're jumping into something that is going up. Because if you dollar cost average here, what if price would have continued all the way down to around $5? And this is what I'm trying to save you guys from. Because the truth is, we don't know. All right, we don't know what Solana bottom is. Like, we don't know where the bottom is going to be of Solana. It could potentially go back to around $8. So if you start dollar cost averaging at 86, all right, like how much are you dumping at $86? Is it 70% of your capital? Is it only 10%? Like, how do we know? And what if we continue with this until price is around $2? And I'm not saying we go into two, but I'm just, trying to help you guys avoid, like this is something right here. Don't don't do what could potentially ruin your finance. Uh, so if I'm looking at Solana, I think price is going lower. We talked about plenty of these other altcoins. Zcash is absolutely cooked. Talked about Zcash all the way back around $400. Actually, at 700, I told you guys the top was already in. $700 Zcash. I have it somewhere around here. Zcash, $700. Zcash top in. It's better to take your profits and go somewhere else. Right here, guys. Look, Zcash is probably topping right here. Only way it continues higher. You know what he got to do? He got to break above 746. Guess what? Got rejected. 746. Look at the price of Zcash today, 238. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is not the bottom right here. You might get a relief rally, tick, 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 and then the next time we crash, we're going below $100. We are going below $100. So, do you want a dollar cost average into Zcash? Have you been dollar cost averaging into Zcash, or are you approaching this in a smart way and just staying on the sideline and see how this all plays out? Something I talked about recently is that we need a complete reset, because this is absolutely a nightmare to have over 32 million cryptocurrency tokens. It doesn't make any sense. One of the reason the cryptocurrency market has been so bad, this bull market, is because we are past the eras where you invest based on the white paper. You are past, those eras where you invest based on what, these protocols are going to accomplish and what products and services they're going to provide. It's 2026. All right, this has been a research paper. They say Cardano is a research paper. The entire cryptocurrency market is a research paper, because almost 20 years into this experiment, no one, excluding, us who are very passionate about this industry, no one else is interacting with these protocols. There's no one that's using Ethereum on a daily basis. All right. Not your sisters, not your brothers, not your cousins, not your neighbors, not your mom, not your dad. No one is using any of these protocols on a daily basis. No one is interacting with them. All right. Absolutely nobody. The cryptocurrency market can disappear today and our lives wouldn't change at all. All right. It's nothing. There's nothing that changes in your daily basis because the cryptocurrency market is no longer here. But you can't say that, when it comes to other corporations or other businesses. When you think about Apple, right? I'm live streaming right now. My computer is an Apple product. All right. I'm reading your chats using my iPhone. This is an Apple product. All right. You can't say the same thing when it comes to these altcoins. When it comes to, you can even include, Bitcoin, a bit of a different story because, as someone who comes from a country where, the money is basically worthless and, inflation is just, to the roof. Like, I know the value of BTC in terms of, being able, not in the short term, long-term stuff. I know the value of being able to, to preserve value. But yeah, look, we have reached a stage where we need a complete reset. Like we got to move away from, this is what Ethereum is going to do in the future. You are going to be able to do this, and no, 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 buddy. We're almost 20 years in. We want to get to a place where, hey, I'm interacting with Ethereum or Ethereum protocols or something that's built on top of Ethereum, and this is something that I'm actually using on a daily basis. And if I don't have this, part of my process, part of what makes things easier for me on a daily basis, or I can't afford, I can't afford to be without it. I think that's the place where we need to be. So, yeah, look, I think this bear market, this is not the one that you want to mess with. And this is why I don't think any of us should dollar cost average into these altcoins. Looking at price is one thing. And if we are going to agree that we are only here to speculate and we don't care if, these protocols are ever going to produce products and services that people are eventually going to use, if we agree that that's the market and, that's the ultimate end goal of this market is just to speculate and, to trade between, you and me, perfectly fine. But, I think, I'm at a place where, I got to be very honest, chat. I'm at a place where, I wouldn't touch any of altcoins until I see that we are in a bull market. All right, look, I'm not here to buy the bottom of the bear market. Absolutely not. I need to see a turnaround, TA wise, in whatever altcoin that I'm interested in. Because otherwise, if this is our 2000 .com bubble, then I want to make sure I don't dollar cost average into something that is forever, all right, that is going to be forever crashing. And 2-3 years from now, I can tell you guys, 32.8 million tokens. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have that, that many tokens.